Thanks for watching and listening. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado on all of our platforms. I'm here in San Antonio. That gentleman out there is
I'm Eric Zandona in Vancouver, Washington.
Eric, and I have been. By the way, he is the author. Just to plug this, he and I are both authors, and he wrote this book. Is called the Tequila Dictionary. So if you haven't seen it, you go get it on Amazon. And the reason I'm going to mention my book again, From Babes to Boss Ladies, is because tonight we are tasting and dissecting 314 Huellas. This is a Bacanora, and we fell all over ourselves with the Plata, the Blanco, unaged version. It is delightful, and it is curated by two ladies in Sonora who have been they're spearheading the Sonora Bacanora industry. They're very involved with curating and visiting the vinateros, the master distillers. That's what they're called when they make Bacanora. The young ladies are Adriana Torres and Mirna Grajeda. You can read about both of them on Tequila Aficionado, but also you can find out about them and a lot of other ladies who are involved in agave spirits on Babes to Boss Ladies. So there you go. We're two authors talking about booze. Maybe we should have our own show. Two writers talking over booze.
Yeah.
So what did you said something off camera about the packaging, and when we talked about the Blanco.
Yeah, so we just tasted through the Blanco, and I told you that I did not have very high hopes, and then we tasted it, and it was delicious.
Yes.
And what I realized is the old adage, you can't judge a book by its cover. So, like I said before, I like the shape of the bottle. I just am not crazy about the labeling. And so when I got the bottles, I was like, all right, we'll see, but my own prejudice, was proved wrong. So
here's what I said earlier on the original podcast, is that these novel spirits, who is the importer, and these young ladies that are involved in the Bacanora, pretty much every brand that they have brought into the United States is a startup, and we realize this is new. This is so new that nobody's had a chance to jump on it and change it all and make it look like something else. And Mezcal has already had. You can see more and more brands and branding and bottling looking much more slick and cityfied, and this hasn't had a chance to be jaded or spoiled. And so you look at this and go, what is it, how does it taste, and how come it's not as eye appealing as maybe it will be in the future. But don't let that fool you, because all the beauty and all the, at least for the Blanco anyway, all the beauty and the elegance is in the juice. We were lucky enough to get some point of sale material, a couple of brochures, and they say a whole lot of the same thing. This is, of course, it's an award winner as well. It's an international award winner, but they give a brief history of what Bacanora is. It's a 300-year plus Mexican tradition. It spent 77 years as an illegal, as literally Mexican moonshine during Prohibition. Each of these is guaranteed to be small batch. And I can tell you from experience, from having spoken to the ladies who are involved in curating and doing very much what Jake Lustig is doing, getting involved in the distilleries. They're called vinatas. It's the same wording they use in Sotol. So they're very much involved in updating so they can improve on the quality, and they don't have to run and hide and have distill in pot stills that they have to break down at any second, because you've got you've got the feds coming at you or something. They don't have to do that anymore, and so they're very much involved in curating and bringing forth the industry of Bacanora. So what I do like though, Eric, is I like the information on the back. It's to me very reminiscent of what we're seeing on a lot of mezcals. There's a full transparency on the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who the master distiller is Tomas Valenzuela.
Yeah.
What town it comes from, what state. They're agave augustifolia ha, type of agave. They even give the nomenclature, the regional nomenclature, which is Yaquiana de Bacanora. Is that correct? Am I reading that?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yaquiana.
Yaquiana. So in Sonora, the Augustifolia ha, which you mentioned previously, is actually Espadin.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. All throughout Mexico, they have these different, regional names for agaves that have, they might be the same scientific name. So here in Bacanora, they'll call it Yaquiana or Bacanora, but down in Oaxaca, they refer to it as Perin. So, but it's the same plant. But the beauty of these spirits is that we get to taste both the regional growing variations as well as the hand of the maker. And so that's what makes some of the, a lot of this really fun and exciting to drink.
Yeah, I think it defines when people talk about terroir. I think it's very difficult now to be able to pick out a terroir in tequila for many reasons. Um, I would say that Bacanora allows one to pick and choose not just the terroir, but also the hand of the maker, because these are, if they're commercially grown, it's very much in its infancy. Chances are they're wild harvested, and they do say that they use older plants. So now the tequila industry is backpedaling, trying to salvage itself and let some of the plants grow their quiote and actually, yeah, to be what they call bat friendly. But with Bacanora, this is very much what it used to be like, during Prohibition, and probably even at higher ABVs, I would imagine. But we're going to try this one. This is the Reposado. I think Eric was mentioning off camera that nothing on a label will tell you how long it's aged, and the brochure tells us very minimal. It is a 6 months aging process, but we're not sure what it's aged in. We're going to go on taste, boys and girls. So here we go. And Eric will probably tell me whether it's whiskey or bourbon barrels or none at all. I don't know. So pale straw color. So 6 months, whatever it is. And judging from the color at all, would we say it was a used barrel? Probably.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I would say used barrel. So it might have even been like a second use barrel. So wouldn't surprise me if they're using them a couple of times. So
okay. Now I'm getting some muted smoke notes. I'm not getting, it's not, the nose isn't giving me I'm not getting any green like I did with the Blanco. I'm getting more muted notes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the nose is a little bit more of like muted, like cooked notes, smoke, and then there's just like a hint of, there's a hint of something that's slightly woody, but it's not really like strong vanilla or oak that you would find in, say, like a whiskey or a more like, or even like a reposado or añejo tequila that's had, that's gone into, a once used bourbon barrel. So
Yeah, I thought now just for those of you who are listening to us, I'm using a Stasso Jarrito for mezcal. It's got a much wider nose, a much wider mouth. I'm sorry, and Eric is using his handy dandy Glencairn.
Yeah.
These are both made by the same company, by the way. Yeah, I thought maybe it's because it's just not opening up for me, or maybe the wood. It feels like the whatever wood notes I'm getting, they're muting everything.
Yeah.
They're even muting the wood notes, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like that. I'm just a little confused
Yeah,
because
I mean, yeah, I think we'll find out more when we taste it.
okay,
So
okay, well, and let's just go into it then
yeah.
as well.
Yeah. So the wood is playing a big role here, I'd say, in the flavor. So because the plata was really sweet and just really exploded on your palate.
Uh-huh.
But this reposado, or what they're calling oro, is much more reserved, more restrained. It it has some of the elements there, but they're really, I feel like, held in tight. But there's this like kind of wood kind of blanket covering everything.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it's almost like the Blanco was a wild horse,
Yeah,
and this one is reined in.
yeah, yeah,
For lack of a better descriptors, but for those of you who are horse people, you might get that. This is a 42 ABV, again, just like the Blanco, 84 proof oro. They're calling it an oro. That's what they call it in Bacanora. That it's the definitions don't mean the same thing as they do in tequila. So each of these is going to be
right.
every denomination of origin and every industry has its own um, nomenclature, I guess, for lack of a better, their own descriptors and their own normas. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't have a copy of the Bacanora normas. I have one for Sotol, which are ancient, but and of course the ones the tequila ones that are going to be updated. We hear they'll be updated next year in 2020. Who knows? Um, yeah, it's just oh here it is, aged 6 months in American white oak barrels. Now, okay, we looked at the color and
Yeah,
we said that this was probably a used barrel, but with the I'm you and I both agree that the notes, the agave notes, are being stuffed down or they're being reined in.
yeah.
So this is more like you said. The wood is playing a much major part, and really this is weird for me because when I've tasted mezcals that are aged in wood, it's almost as if you add another layer of complexity. But we're not getting that layer of
No,
complexity. We're
actually,
getting we're,
I'm
what are we
what
getting?
to me, I'm wondering, given the color and the flavor, it wouldn't surprise me actually if they're using like new barrels that are like either like not charred, definitely not charred, but maybe just lightly toasted. Maybe I don't know,
We
because
we don't know either.
no, if it was charred or it was a heavy toast, then you would get more character of like vanilla and like coconut, but you're not getting that. It's just wood. It's
It's almost like they just stored it in wood.
yeah, yeah. And maybe that's, to be honest, like that was how all aged spirits came about, right? It's
Yeah.
like we have to move it from point A to point B. What are we going to do? Stick it
Well,
in a wood barrel.
Yeah, glass is going to break. So let's
Right.
just put it in barrels, right? So, yeah.
So I feel like the smoke actually is enhanced somewhat more. So in that regard, I would say if you're somebody who likes more like smoky mezcal, or you're a fan of um, more like like smoked scotches, or peated scotches, then this is gonna, I think, be interesting for more people. But if you're more fan of, say, Blanco tequilas, Joven mezcals, this is not gonna be as like interesting, I think, for those drinkers. Um, and it's a little, I'm somewhat fascinated because of how different they are. Um, and to think like it's just the difference of 6 months in a barrel, it's fascinating.
Yeah, again, the only thing I can describe it is that the Blanco is a wild horse. It
Yeah,
hasn't been tamed. It hasn't been busted. And
yeah,
and and the Reposado is, you're gonna put on your boots and your English saddle. You know what I mean? So the I think you're correct. Is that a good thing? Probably. I think you and I went through a mezcal, miel de tierra.
yeah,
It was beautiful packaging. It was an extra añejo, and it kind of fell flat on its face.
yeah,
And
yeah. And that
I'm
one,
getting the same thing with
yeah,
this because the Blanco is so beautiful.
right.
And
Yeah. I think my hypothesis was that they were doing too good of a job in their fermentation and distillation, that it was like so clean that then when they aged it, it just kind of didn't have anything left. Uh, Here, like we've tasted the Blanco, like we didn't have the Blanco for the Miel de Tierra. Here we know what that tastes like, and so it's a little bit confusing. Um, but at the same time, I think I think if you like again, like I think if you like malt whiskey, if you like scotch, this is actually going to be something that somebody would, I think, enjoy drinking, because the flavors, they're not the same, but they're not all that different either at the same time. So this would work really well in a highball. I know the packaging, the POS suggested you can mix it with tonic. There, I think with this one, because there's already some bitterness, or not quite bitterness, but there's wood tannins
right.
in the reposado. I think with tonic, that might be a little bit too much. But just with soda and like a lemon peel or an orange peel, I think this would be really, really nice. I mean, you could use it in some other cocktails as well. But I think if you're a fan of drinking, some malt whiskeys, this is going to be an easier transition,
Mhm.
because it's not too dissimilar. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, like I said, it kind of confused me at first because I wasn't getting the agave characteristics off the bat, but I also wasn't getting, any real wood notes. It was just kind of like I was, smelling a two by four,
Hmm.
you know. But and again, it's not in a bad way. I'll have to say it's kind of a letdown for me, being that the Blanca was so beautiful.
Yeah,
But that's just me. Like you said, there, if you're a fan of all the spirits that you mentioned, this this is a no brainer. Do we know what the pricing was on this one as
yeah.
well?
This is a little bit more. It's like 52 or $54 for a bottle. So it's like $4 to $8 more than the Blanco, something like that.
Now I will say that there's plenty of lip numbness. I mean, when you hold it in, between your lip and your gum, very much like that was with the Blanco.
Yeah.
Uh, The tannins, like you said, there's on the finish, the bitterness is there, a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Hey, would you pair it with a cigar? Is this a cigar smoker's,
Um,
or is
yeah,
that would be too much?
I think you could. I mean, as we've talked before, I always tend to like to, personally, I like pairing sweet drinks with cigars because the smoke is so dry. So I like drinking like port or, sweet sherries or, sweeter rums, things like that than say like a dry spirit. Um, because I feel like it's a nice contrast on in my mouth
Okay.
between the dryness of the smoke and then the sweetness of the drink. So that's what I'm personally I like. But I think in terms of the flavor, I think it's definitely it could be a complementary flavor to the right type of cigar. I would say even like a medium body cigar would probably still do well with this.
Okay.
I'm not sure about full or like if a Maduro wrapper, that might be a little bit much.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I think this would work well. And that's like, and this is more in the vein of like, and this is something, and I don't know if this is what they're going for, or this is something the producer has already been doing for a long time, and it's just his style. But I know some agave brands have been trying to sort of position themselves with their aged expressions as like the whiskey drinkers, agave spirit.
Right.
So in that regard, I think this is an interesting line because the plata he's going to blow away, anybody who's a big fan of Blanco agaves, right? Blanco tequila, joven mezcal, you're going to love it. If you're a big fan of, like I said, malt whiskey, I think there's a lot here in the Oro that I think people will enjoy.
Okay. So in your opinion, is this a worthy of a brand of promise as well, or?
Well,
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
yeah.
Uh,
So there, I would say, I,
I have to
I,
be honest because we don't have to nominate everything.
I, I
Uh,
would say no, in that I think it's not a bad spirit, but I think for its category of a aged Bacanora, I I think you would need more agave character. I think you would need better cohesion of the barrel with the spirit. And here it's the barrel, I think, sort of taken over, even at 6 months. And while it's not unpalatable, I think there's plenty of drinkers who would like it. I think for its style, I think it falls a little bit short.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And so there you go. That is our take on 314 Huellas. This is the Oro or the Reposado, aged 6 months in probably new American oak barrels,
Yeah.
uh, or at least barrels that weren't, toasted or fried or
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, but check it out. If you have tasted this before and you want to get one and you have your opinions, let us know in the comments. Tell us that we're totally off base. And that's cool too because we do get wonderful comments from people who either enjoy it or disagree with us or ask us to try something else, and so it's kind of fun to read the responses that we get. But that is our take. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman out there is.
Eric Zandona in Vancouver, Washington.
You have been listening and watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on wherever you download your podcasts. Hopefully, the folks in the UK wake up. Hey, Mexico, wake up. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit that red button. Unless, of course, you're afraid of commitment. But whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.